From the Fremont Flyers. This is called our Peterson's field. It's what I call a classic RC field that's in a pasture grass strip, and our membership, we have about 60 members in the club, and a couple of the guys down there, you see one with a new E-Flight Splendor. We're trying to get him to fly basic, and the other fella is a scratch builder, and we're trying to get him to fly some of his scratch built airplanes in basic this year. So hopefully this will be useful, and I'm going to run through a couple of arresty dances with the wooden stick airplane, and then we'll get to the flying. IMAC 2014 basic. This is the known. There's only known in basic. Once you get above that, you have unknowns, and that adds a whole new dimension to your preparation and your relationship with your caller. What I've done on this basic, if you notice, I've written a script for my caller, and if your caller is new to the hobby and the sport of IMAC, and you are, this is a great idea where all that caller is going to say is what you've scripted them to say, and what you want to do is make sure that you write it that you understand what they're saying. So you don't have to be looking anywhere, you're just concentrating on the airplane, and when you hear that, that triggers your action into the maneuver. So I'll run through it with my airplane, and what we're looking at in front of us here, we've got our field, so it's going to be taken off probably right to left, and we're going to fly out in this area. And if you see this tree to the right, that's going to be my baseline, and that baseline is going to be set by my trim run. I'm going to take off and make a trim pass, then I'm going to turn around, and there's several legal maneuvers you can use to turn around. I suggest the IMAC website or IMAC Pro, which is an app for your iPhones. And a couple of them are, you can do a hammerhead, you can do a half Cuban 8, you can do a half reverse Cuban 8, or you can do a turn. The difficulty with doing turns is now you've established that trim line, which gives you your distance close and far, and you've already established it, and when you make a turn, now you're taking yourself out of that nice line. So that's the reason for doing the vertical turnarounds. So now you're coming back on that nice line you established. Critical if it's windy, especially if the wind is blowing you in or if it's blowing you out. You use that trim pass to establish that nice crab. Okay, and remember, your wind corrections in IMAC are always corrected unless the airplane is stalled. So in a hammerhead, I'm going to do it this way, cross box, but imagine this being the length of your box. So we're coming down the box. Your upline, if the wind was blowing from the left to the right, your upline would be corrected in that line. When you do your hammerhead turn, your stalled turn, it does not have to be corrected. It would be corrected again back in your down line. Okay, so hopefully that came through on the camera lens. This is a hat cam, so forgive me. So let's go through with the basic. Your caller would give this to the judge. He would announce your name, Darren Hudson, flying basic, and this is Schedule C, if you see it up in the corner there, sorry. Schedule C, and what that dictates is the direction of flight. There's a Schedule C, and there's a Schedule B, and the difference in the two is the wind direction. So there's really no wind today, I've just chosen this one. So here we go, we're going to start. When we enter the box, we say entering the box, either the caller or the pilot, and now the judges are going to start judging when you start your first maneuver. So the first maneuver is the one roll center box. So this would be far end, center, other end. And you want to present your sequence so that you are presenting it to the judge in that imaginary box. Your deadline is in front of the judges, and they establish that at your pilot meeting, generally 100 feet from the judges, and it extends beyond, no specific amount, but good for presenting your maneuver. Can they see the airplane? Can they see the line? Can they understand what you're supposed to be doing? So if it's way out and it's a dot, that's not good presentation. Your airspace score is going to be bad in that case. So here we go. Entering the box, one roll, center box. I enter, I do one aileron roll. There's a start and a finish. A line before the maneuver, a line after the maneuver, and that's what you are scored on. One plane length. One plane length, roll, one plane length, done. Next maneuver, shark tooth, pull to vertical, 45, and then pull to vertical, then pull to a 45 down line, half roll, centered on that line right there. And it's centered in distance, not in time. So don't count them off because your airspeed is changing. So don't count off 1 potato, 2 potato roll, 1 potato, 2 potato pull, because your airspeed's increasing. That 1 potato, 2 potato on the top is going to be shorter than the other. So it's spacing it visually, and it wants to be in the middle of that line. So here we go. Vertical up line, corrected for any wind. Pull to your 45 down line, half roll, and then pull to horizon. Next maneuver, Humpty Bump. Pull vertical, half loop, half roll on the down line. Again, pull up. This radius here and this radius here do not have to be the same as this radius here. And these are all in the IMAC rules, and you'll see that some maneuvers, like the half reverse Cuban or any of these maneuvers, this radius here must match this radius here. So if you pull sharp here, this radius has to be real tight. If you pull real slow here, then that's going to establish your radius on the other side. Okay? So we go through. The next maneuver is a loop, and we just do a loop, starting and finishing at the same spot, adjusting appropriately to make it round. Again, positioning, airspace use, it wants to be in the center. I won't go through the entire sequence with the stick plane, but you get the idea of what we're doing here. If you have a caller, set a script that you understand and they understand. Understand where you're going to place your maneuvers before you start. Understand your wind correction for the day. Utilize your trim pass to set that line. Try not to displace that trim or that line by doing a horizontal turn. Try and do a vertical reversal instead. One added note on the spins and the stalls. I'll go over this last maneuver. It's an Immelman, which is a half loop and a half roll at the top. In IMAC, we need to see a stall, then auto rotation. Anything else is going to be zeroed on your spins. So I would recommend practicing just straight ahead stalls. Slow the aircraft until you see where it's stalling, and that's a drop that's symmetrical. And then when you induce the spin into it, you're inducing the rudder. And with these modern 3D airplanes, if that's what you're going to be using, they're very lightly wing loaded. So you have to help them a little bit with some aileron, most of them. So you're going to stall, choose your direction of spin, rudder, and aileron. And you should see a cone image with your tail. That's indicating a full stall and auto rotation. If you see the airplane do this first, that's rolling in, that's zeroed. If you see the airplane dropping and then rolling axially, vertically, that's a zero, that's not a spin, you're not stalled, okay? Probably one of the more difficult maneuvers, the snapping maneuvers, the stalling maneuvers, and the spinning maneuvers. Because these airplanes are so floaty, it makes it very difficult to do it with a full stall, then an auto rotation. So I'll stop on that. All right, I'm going to cut it here, and we're going to move to the flying portion. Try this with a Extreme Flight laser. I've got it on 6-cell 3300 battery, and John's going to call the basic for me. I don't normally fly the basic, so he's going to do the calling for me just as I've scripted it out, the one we were watching on the video. And we'll see if we can do this 2 sequences, 1 round with electric. And we'll check the battery when we come down. So here we go. Take off. Darren Hudson's going to be flying basic, and we're going to be flying it from right to left. So this is my trim pass, and I'm going to reverse with a half Cuban 8. Now I'm going to say entering the box.
1 roll, center box.
We're going to do 1 roll, center box.
Back 2, pull the vertical.
We're going to pull the vertical.
45 down line.
And then a 45 down line.
Half roll, center.
Half roll centered. And then pull the horizontal. Next.
Humpty bump, pull vertical.
And this is on the other end. We're going to pull to vertical for a Humpty bump.
Half loop, half roll.
And we're going to do half loop. Vertical down line, half roll, pull to horizontal.
Loop.
Loop in the center. So we're going to go up, and we want the loop to be nice and round.
Hammerhead.
And we're going to do a hammerhead now at the far end. Pulling up, vertical, stall turn. Sometimes you have to help it with a little throttle. Vertical down line.
Half reverse Cuban, pull to 45.
Half reverse Cuban is going to be on the other end.
Half roll centered.
Up.
5/8 loop to horizontal.
Half roll. Back down the line.
Teardrop, pull to 45.
And we're going to pull up for the teardrop.
Pull the vertical down line.
Up, 45. And now pull the loop on the top all the way to the down line. Half roll or no? No. There we go.
Half Cuban, 5/8 loop.
Okay. 5/8 loop.
To 45 down
45 down line.
Half roll centered.
And then pull.
Immelman, half loop, half roll.
So we're going to set up now with the Immelman half loop.
Slow for spin.
Half roll. We're going to slow for the spin in the center, and I believe it's a 1.5. So we're going to stall and then spin 1.5, over rotate it a little, and now pull, leaving the box. So now that's done, that's been scored. I'm going to reverse again. This is electric, so I'm not going to waste any time. I'll reverse with my half Cuban.
1 roll center box.
All right, entering the box. 1 roll.
Shark 2, pull to vertical.
We'll pull to vertical.
Pull 45 down line.
And we'll pull the 45 down line.
Half roll centered.
And we'll half roll center. Pull to horizontal.
Pull vertical.
All right.
Half loop, half roll.
There we go.
1 down line.
All right. Come to half roll on the down line.
Loop at center box.
And we'll loop right here.
Hammerhead.
We'll go into the hammerhead. Pull the vertical up line. And remember, this needed help last time, so we'll help it around. A little bit of a flyover on the top, but not bad.
Half reverse Cuban.
Half reverse Cuban on the far end, so we'll pull up.
Half roll centered.
45.
5/8 loop to horizontal.
And we'll come back down the line to our baseline. That was a little tight on the radius. Teardrop.
Pull to 45, pull the vertical down line.
45 up. To the top of the loop to the down line. And then
half
pull.
Cuban, 5/8 loop to 45 down line.
So we'll pull our loop around to our 45 down line.
Into a half roll centered.
Half roll.
Immelman.
And then we'll do our Immelman again.
Half loop, half roll,
Up.
slow for spin.
You heard my timer go off. We're going to slow to the stall. Stall. 1.5 down line. Recover. Leaving the box. So we're done. I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to bring it right in and land and check the battery. And I think we have enough to do that successfully. But you saw we're not wasting much time. And that's it. That's 1 round, basic, 2014 basic. Thank you, John. We thank the judges. And that's where we go. All right, guys. All right, guys. Here we are, post round, which is 2 sequences. This is, like I said, a 6S, and this was a 3300. Excuse me, 3300 milliamp battery. And after the 2 sequences that were done fairly efficiently, I'm looking at 3.86 per cell, and that's about 50%. So that is, in my opinion, that would be plenty. To do 2 sequences and come back down. Now, if the wind was a lot more, you would be probably running another 10%, 20% throttle to fight that wind, and you'd have to judge accordingly. But it still should be able to be done. You get down to like a 4-cell airplane. I've seen some guys do it with 42-inch balsa. And that could be a little difficult. I saw a guy doing it in real windy conditions, 15 to 20 miles an hour. He was quite a trooper, but he couldn't get through his second sequence. He got about 3/4 of the way through, and his battery just died. So keep that in mind. These 60-inch airplanes make great choices. The new Splendor from E-flite without the A3 the AS3X would be an excellent choice. I flew that today for the first time, and that's an excellent choice as well. So there's lots of options in basic. You can fly anything you want. The point is, get out there, fly precision, try and be precise, and if you're interested in 3D or XA, anything you fly, or warbirds, anything you fly, if you can fly precisely and fly a line and fly a maneuver the way you want it, all of your flying will improve. I'll go as far as say I guarantee it. All right, good luck, guys.